The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. Okay, welcome back to the Sports Renegades on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
This is our final segment. As we were just talking about the Bulls, we're going to move away from the bad and focus on the very exciting and upcoming and very talented.
They're only down 11 now.
Oh, they're only down 11. Hey, maybe they'll come back. I still feel like they're going to find a way to blow it. But that is the 76ers, so I guess there's a chance. We sort of just kind of wrote it off, but... yeah, there's always a comeback in the Bulls, but we'll see.
I don't know.
Maybe Aaron Brooks will score like 50.
They'll come back, except then they'll still find a way to lose by 2.
Yeah. All right, we're talking about the Cubs now, and Ryan Risky proposed the question, a very important question as we head into spring training about a month away, is have the Cubs done enough in the offseason? Will they add starting pitching? What will they do? Is it enough? My initial reaction is I would love for them to make a move with the Tampa Bay Rays to get another starting pitcher. Of course, that would mean that Jorge Soler would probably be the one to go, you would think.
You really don't know. And obviously, to answer my question, did the Cubs add enough pitching? I'm going to say no.
I agree.
Would John Lackey and Adam Warren have made that much of an effect on the Mets series?
No, I don't believe so. Cause
maybe they would have won a game. They wouldn't have won
Daniel Murphy would have hit a home run off of Lackey, too. I mean,
Daniel Murphy would have hit a home run off of someone else. So.
Yeah, I mean, he was just playing really well. We saw in the World Series that when you really face the best pitching in baseball, that doesn't work. So, but, yeah, it's just it's going to be interesting to see if they do make a move. I would love for them to make a move for a starting pitcher. It all depends on who they give up. I mean, do you really want to give up the bat of Soler? Because that would be the guy Tampa Bay's interested in, I would think.
See, here's the thing. If they were to maybe trade Soler, that would maybe bring an incentive to try to re-sign Fowler, and then you could move Hayward to right.
Right.
Except I'd say Baez would be a bigger candidate to go just because they don't really have a position for him, and I don't really see him as being just a super utility player.
That's true. Although I think he'd play well at super utility. He does still, strike out a lot, and he didn't play a full season. He only came up in September, and of course he played since August of 2014. He played the end of that season. But
right. Except if you also think about if you trade one, Jake Odorizzi would be a great fit. Although I read the Cubs are trying to acquire him or another Rays pitcher without trading from the major league team.
Yeah,
and that's going to be tough.
It's going to be interesting, too, and if they do make a move, if it'll happen during the Cubs convention, I feel like that would be good timing as far as, like, everybody's sort of in one place and they all get the news at the same time.
Right, and it sounds like, though, that the Cubs are also going to announce an extension for Theo Epstein after Cubs convention because they want the focus to be on the team this year at Cubs convention. And going back to the pitching, Phil Rogers wrote an article for MLB.com, some trades that would make sense between the Cubs and Rays, and the first one would be left-handed relief pitcher Jake McGee for outfielder Billy McKinney.
Okay, yeah, I'd be all over that at this point.
Yeah, I mean, McKinney could be a good player. McGee definitely is a very good left-handed reliever.
McKinney's an outfielder, right?
Yeah, they got him in the Addison Russell deal. He's could be a really good player.
Yeah, but see, when you have Jason Hayward entering his prime, that doesn't feel like it's such a big necessity to keep Billy McKinney.
Right, and maybe they could use another power lefty like McGee. You never know. They did acquire Edgar Olmos and Rex Brothers in the offseason, so we'll see. Right now, McKinney's the number 2 prospect in their system. I don't think that'll happen. Another one is, which I don't agree with this one at all, would be Alex Cobb and McGee for Chris Coughlin, Billy McKinney, Wilson Contreras, and Dan Vogelbach.
It's a lot of prospects.
I would say no just because of Wilson Contreras, because you need insurance if the Kyle Schwarber catching experiment fails, because if it does fail, you need a catcher, and that could be Wilson Contreras.
So far, it has failed. I don't see Kyle Schwarber being a catcher.
No, and you need to have a plan in place at catcher, and Wilson Contreras looks like the next big thing for them at catcher.
Right. I mean, he can work all he wants during the offseason and spring training to try to work on being catcher, which he should.
I mean,
but I just feel like it's not going to work out.
I don't think it will. Especially,
and I think you can live with him in left field, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he played that bad. He had a bad series against the Mets. It's not like he was an awful left fielder.
Except he did do well with the bat. I mean,
yeah.
That was the first time he was playing the outfield, so you got to cut him some slack. Except another thing with this deal is Alex Cobb. He's gonna be a free agent, I believe, at the end of this year or at the end of next one, except that's if he's a free agent at the end of next year, you're only getting really one good year out of him because he's coming off of Tommy John surgery, so he's going to be on an innings limit. He won't be back to full strength, so that's just a stupid one. I mean, maybe I'd think about Contreras if he could throw Archer in there, which I know won't happen.
Oh. Could you imagine? Yeah, I'd love Chris Archer. I like Jake Odorizzi. He had a great season.
Right. This one is probably my favorite of the ones he made. There was 5 trades. This one, Jake Odorizzi and McGee for Baez, McKinney, and Vogelbach.
Yeah, I think right now I would definitely do that.
You'd like to include Vogelbach because he could be a big bat for Tampa Bay, and there's just no room for him with the Cubs.
No.
Odorizzi, I think, is the best fit of Tampa Bay's pitchers with the Cubs.
I mean, Odorizzi's a great. I mean, he's really a 3, but he could be a 2 even.
Yeah, he could be, and he'd not be a slot in nicely in between Lester and Lackey.
Yeah, that would be great, and you still have Hendricks at the end of the rotation, and he's a perfect 4 and 5.
Right, and then another one. This one I think is too much. So Chris Archer and McGee for Soler, Baez, McKinney, and Vogelbach.
I don't want to give up both Soler and Baez in a trade. I would maybe give up one or the other.
Giving up one is like, you can live with it if you're getting something good.
Yeah, the thing with Soler, while he goes through spurts of not being so good, and he gets injured more than he should. I mean, he's a bat that you don't want to leave that lineup, kind of like Schwarber. Only Schwarber, really mashes the ball. And Soler really makes great contact a lot of times, too.
When he hits the ball, he hits it hard. And then the final one, this is just more of a just-for-fun trade. This one will never happen. Archer, McGee, and Kevin Kiermaier.
Ooh. For one of the best defensive outfielders in the game.
That'd be so good if they could get Kiermaier. And then they could, man. If you could get Kiermaier in a trade, you can definitely afford to trade Soler because then you got Hayward. Just throw Hayward and... Right, I think you can trade Soler if you're going to trade Kiermaier. So Soler's not even in this deal. So
I would even have Schwarber play catcher at that point. Who cares? Because you got Kiermaier.
Yeah, I mean you could definitely trade Soler if you're getting Kiermaier. Just throw Hayward and right. So Archer, McGee, and Kiermaier for Schwarber, Baez, McKinney, and Gleyber Torres.
I don't know who Gleyber Torres is.
He's their top infield prospect.
Oh, okay. Well,
he's like 18 or 19. They signed him as an international free agent. You can never have enough of those. So. Yeah. I mean, obviously this won't happen because Schwarber's in it. I mean, if you can pry Kiermaier away, then you can probably live with trading Soler. Schwarber, I don't see him being traded at all.
No, there really wouldn't be any logical thing. I mean, he did so much, especially in the playoffs. You don't want to lose him by any stretch.
No, not until you determine that he needs to go to the American League.
I mean, even for me, it's hard for me to part with Fowler. I really like Dexter Fowler. He was one of the best leadoff hitters in all of baseball.
Yep. Although they found a better fit in Hayward.
Yeah, well, sure they did, but even for me, like it's hard to say goodbye to Fowler.
It is.
Obviously, Jason Hayward's an upgrade overall, certainly, but you would still like to get Fowler somehow. Have him play center field and then Hayward and right. I don't know, but then Soler would probably be traded. But I don't know. But if they can find a way to keep Fowler, I think that would be great.
Right. Although if he does leave, they will get a first-round draft pick, and they won't pick until the 3rd round right now because they signed Lackey.
Is there any
Hayward?
Yeah. Is there any news on Coughlin? Or anything? I'm not sure what. I'm assuming he's not going to be with the club, but I don't know.
Well, he's under contract with them.
He's still under contract.
Yeah.
They just haven't made a move yet. Like if they're going to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could try to include him in a deal with the Rays. I mean, obviously, I think the best fit for the Cubs would be to acquire Jake Odorizzi.
Yeah, it's just is Tampa Bay willing to part with such good young pitching?
Although if the Cubs, and the Cubs don't want to trade from their prospects, and they don't see, that's what makes it tough. I mean, I think eventually you're going to have to trade. I mean, that would be something, though, if they could get a trade like getting Odorizzi and Kiermaier and trade like a Soler, a Billy McKinney, and a Dan Vogelbach, and then maybe add a pitcher in there. I mean, that's a lot to give up, except you are getting Kiermaier and Odorizzi. And, if you do get Kiermaier, you don't have room for Soler.
No.
Because it's pretty obvious they like Schwarber more.
Yes, well, and I do, too, overall. I mean, especially because Schwarber hasn't gotten hurt to the extent that
That's
Soler
another
has.
thing with Soler is the injuries.
Yeah. It's just going to be interesting because the Cubs now have to balance a great farm system with a great team, and you don't want to do the same mistakes that they made with the other regimes where they have, the big power team for a year, and then it all just sort of falls apart because farm system to fall back on.
And Theo's pretty much just showing he's not trading their top prospects.
No, and
not
I agree.
Not unless it's in a really, really good deal.
Right, and you really never want to do that because then you'll be in bad situations like the Cubs have been in before. Of course, it's way different now.
And it's a good thing they were smart and held on to their prospects. And, look what happened. I mean, you had Schwarber, Russell, and Bryant, and Soler all on making significant contributions.
Right. Before we get out of here, we'll talk about the White Sox just real quick. Do you think the Sox are done? Is there any way that they get somebody like Cespedes or Justin Upton?
Not unless their market falls.
Because I haven't heard anything.
Unless their market falls so flat that they're willing to accept a 3-year deal to the White Sox.
Right.
Which I don't
That's the thing. There's a lot more intriguing markets to go to, and there's a lot more intriguing teams that are willing to get Justin Upton and willing to get Cespedes, and also, that there's other players too that are out there. That there's Carlos Gonzalez who Colorado Rockies are shopping.
The Rockies just signed Gerardo Parra, so they're probably going to trade one of Carlos Gonzalez, Corey Dickerson, or Charlie Blackmon.
Could you imagine if the White Sox got one of those players? I mean, that would be a vast improvement, especially in the outfield.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, anyways, that's going to do it for us this week on the Sports Renegades. We want to thank you again for listening. We'll be back on next week, and also each of us are going to have our top 5 list for worst moves made by Chicago teams the last, let's say 10, 12 years.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That'll be really fun. We'll both have different lists. We'll see. I already know what my number 1 is.
Yeah, I think mine might be the same. Yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week, and thanks to Chris Simpson also for calling in.
He'll be back on next week.
Yes, he will. And I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.
The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.